A common question that I get and that I see is about the legitimacy of Cave CCR crossover classes. If you're a rebreather diver and you've never been cave diving, you can start your cave class with that rebreather in a rebreather cavern intro and full cave program. But the question typically comes up for the crossover class. Certified rebreather diver, certified cave diver, and there's a program to link the two, and as a result you get a card that says you can dive your rebreather in a cave. Sometimes people think this is a money grab from instructors trying to sell more classes, and I am a Cave CCR instructor, so I am financially incentivized to say that the program is legitimate, and my opinion has evolved on this over the years. I understand why the legitimacy is questioned, and there are situations where I think it is very valuable and situations where it's not. For example, someone's a very experienced rebreather diver, maybe they have 500 or 1,000 hours on their rebreather, and they also have a comparable amount of experience in the caves, hundreds and hundreds of cave dives. Those people are going to be able to link the two with very little issue. So in those situations, I totally get the question for legitimacy. The value that those individuals get from a specific card or program to teach them how to mate two things that they're very familiar with doesn't seem like it really makes sense. Those people are few and far between though. What I see much more often of is someone with 50 or 100 rebreather hours and 50 or 100 cave dives. So they don't have a ton of experience in either discipline and they're looking to combine them. That's where the value of this program comes into play. So the crossover program is meant to help you link those two disciplines, teach you the specific procedures for Cave CCR diving, and also serve as a hurdle for evaluation. There's absolutely new topics that are introduced in a Cave CCR crossover program, so it's not just a hurdle or just an evaluation, but those are important aspects as well. If there's a knowledge gap on either discipline, then we need to get that corrected before we start gluing them together, especially if we don't have a ton of experience with either discipline. In my opinion, that's where this program gets the most of its legitimacy. This idea that we have someone who's really experienced with cave diving and really experienced with CCR diving, then spending a couple of days with an instructor would probably help them, but do they need that to combine the two disciplines? Maybe or maybe not. The individual that is inexperienced in both absolutely needs some kind of glue to help pull them together, and that's the purpose of the Cave CCR program. Now, jumping off from that, another question is, hey, I am an experienced rebreather diver, I have no cave experience, should I take all the open circuit classes and then do the Cave CCR program at the end? Or should I start and finish on the rebreather? Either of those options makes good sense to me. There are cave dives, like short or shallow caves, where a rebreather just gives us more risk than it does benefit. So if we're thinking about doing those cave dives as we're getting more experience in the caves, that's probably more appropriate on open circuit, and that open circuit training that you started with will set you up for success there. Once the seesaw of risk versus reward points towards the rebreather, you also have that toolkit from the CCR crossover that you did as part of that program. If we have unlimited time and resources and money, and we're looking to do things more of a traditional approach, the correct way would be to do all of our open circuit cave training, go get hundreds or thousands of cave dives in, integrate stages and scooters, and hit the point to where open circuit logistics don't make sense anymore, and we need the rebreather. There's a big difference between wanting a rebreather for a dive and needing a rebreather for the dive. We've got unique risks with rebreathers. We have more risk with rebreathers. And taking a rebreather on a dive that's better suited for open circuit is not giving us any benefits, it's giving us more risk. That pathway isn't realistic for everybody, especially ocean divers who are very experienced on the rebreather. They want to go ahead and get started on the rebreather in the cave. That's appropriate, and there's programs to match that out there. What's really important to avoid is to take things that we have limited experience with and combine them. Like if we only have a couple dozen cave dives and a couple dozen hours on our rebreather, mashing those together with no oversight or standards or structure or evaluation is not going to set us up for success. And this is an environment where we want to be set up for success. We want to mitigate as much risk as possible. So big takeaways here. In my opinion, the questions of legitimacy for a Cave CCR crossover program are rooted in some really good logic. The problem is when we look at the reality of the divers that are needing that program and questioning its legitimacy, those divers don't have that big pile of experience that people in the past or people that did more traditional routes have. And when it comes to this kind of diving, we should not combine two things that we're not good at without some additional training, feedback, and info. If you've got questions on Cave CCR programs or rebreather diving or cave diving in general, feel free to give me a holler, and thank you for watching.